In this video, we're just going to go over how we can solve equations using square roots to help us get our solution. This is going to help us get ready to do problems like Pythagorean theorem, or as we get further into math, we start doing quadratic equations. It will be useful. So let's say, for example, we have a problem x squared is equal to 9. And when we solve equations, we want to do inverse operations. Which also means opposites. So, like if I have an addition, I would have to do subtraction or subtraction to addition. Those are opposites or inverse operations. Multiplying and dividing are inverse operations. So if I'm multiplying opposite to divide, I'm dividing, the opposite would be to multiply. And we've talked about those things before, but this one is going to be new. If I have a square, the opposite of a square is the square root. So on this problem, I have an x squared. Squared means the second power. So the opposite of a square is to take the square root. And we still have to keep the equation balanced, so if I take the square root of one side, then I have to take the square root of the other side. And just like with the other inverse operations, they're going to cancel each other out. So the square and the square root cancel each other out. So all I have left is that x, and that's always our goal, is to isolate our variable. And then on my right hand side, the square root of 9 means what times itself will give me 9, and that's going to be 3. Technically, it's both positive 3 and negative 3. But for what we're going to be looking at, we're going to focus on the positive square root. So just the 3. So another example, if I have x squared is equal to 36. And I want to get rid of that square. The opposite of a square is to take the square root. Do the same to both sides. Square and square root cancel. So x equals square root of 36 means what number times itself will give me 36, and that's going to be 6. Again, it would be positive 6 and negative 6, but we're just going to focus on the positive. And then we'll do one more example. We're going to look at what happens if there's more than that. So let's say we have, for example, x squared plus 1 equals, let's make this one 26. So we're going to follow our rules to solve equations. I want to get that variable all by itself. And I do have the square this time, but that is attached to the x. So the square is attached to the x. I want to do whatever is not attached to the x, so this plus 1. So I'm going to get rid of this plus 1 first. We're going to use these inverse operations that we talked about over here. The opposite of plus then is minus. So I'm going to minus 1 from both sides. And then positive 1, negative 1 makes 0, so we say that cancels out. So I just have that x squared is equal to, and 26 minus 1 is 25. Now we just have that square. So the last thing, the only thing I have left to do is get rid of the square. Well, the opposite is square root. Both sides. Square and square root cancel. X equals what number times itself will give 25, and that is 5.